Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 10th episode of your new favorite internet show, Visioncon Live. I'm your host, Zach Wilson. But you didn't come here to see me today. You came to see the man of the hour. He voices Shinji from Neon Genesis Evangelion, Hanataro from Bleach, Inojin from Boruto, just to name a few. He's as talented as he is kind, just the man this world needs right now. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome the one, the only, Spike Spencer. Spike, how you doing today?
I'm extraordinary, as always, my friend. How are you today?
I'm doing dandy as candy, living the dream. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Dandy as candy. I just stole that.
You feel free, honestly. It'd be an honor to have Spike Spencer steal my line.
I'm randy and dandy as candy.
Ooh, that's actually better. I might actually steal that back from you. Well, we were talking earlier, before we started recording, that you are in one of the most picturesque places possible, which also was an interesting kind of scheduling thing because our time zones are so drastically different. You're in Australia, so it's what, like about 10 or so o'clock over there, where it's about 7 o'clock over here, right?
Yep. It is. I hope this is going through because the internet in Australia is notoriously glitchy.
Sure.
But yes, I am on the Gold Coast, which is just south of Brisbane. It is stunning. It is amazing. If you go to my Facebook page, I've got pictures up there. I've been throwing them out, and some on Twitter from time to time, etc. And it is absolutely incredible. It's a very interesting story to get me here, but and you froze.
Yeah, I was about to say, you kind of froze a little bit. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. All right. Well, I mean, honestly, like I've heard two kind of conflicting stereotypes about Australia. On the one hand, a lot of people say it's picturesque, it's beautiful. I mean, I've certainly seen a lot of stunning photos, videos. You yourself even showed me the coastline that you are currently at. It's amazing. But then on the other hand, there's all these people and pictures terrifyingly showing off spiders, the size of me, large animals that would love nothing more than to kill me. So is it kind of a mixture of both, or is one stereotype kind of unfair to group Australia with?
Yeah. Well, like I said, mate, it's a little from column A, a little from column B, It's amazing, stunning, beautiful. I've driven all over it. I've been down here 8 times. And yes, of course, your animals that we all know and love, koalas, wombats, wallabies, kangaroos, platypus, etc., echidnas, they're all cutesy. And yes, they can and will kill you, by the way. Although I've held koalas 4 times. They're very docile. But have you seen the claws on those little guys? Oh, man, they will rip your freaking face off. But in a cute way.
Sure.
And kangaroos and wallabies are, they're different. When you see the little kangaroos, they're the wallabies and they're adorable. The big kangaroos are kind of dicks. I mean, they will come up, they're like, take the little wallaby and go, get out of the way, mate. And they take your food, take his food kind of thing. And they taste great, by the way.
Are they lean like bison, I believe is? Or is it?
Incredibly so. Incredibly so. Really, really tasty. And also, on the same vein, spiders that big. I literally down. Well, we haven't seen a lot of spiders around here. This is more of a hotels and condos and apartments, and it's very well kept around here. But just down the road, there was one little island by the bus, and there were literally at least a dozen spiders that big just there. Now, apparently they're harmless, but I'm like, well, not if my heart explodes from fear, but there is that. But yeah, I've seen them up close when you're walking by them, and they call them orb weavers. But we have orb weavers in Burbank that are, about that big, really big, and a lot of them, which is creepy as hell. But when you come down here, it's like, yeah, that's scary.
So you tell you with the bad or the good, I mean, kind of any place that you live, it has its pros and cons. But we kind of got a little off topic. But ladies and gentlemen, those of you just tuning in, I am joined with my special guest, Spike Spencer, revolutionary voice actor and just all around great human being. And I first wanted to start off today's episode, Spike, by take us back. Now, obviously, now everybody knows you as one of the most renowned and recognized voice actors around. But I want to know, how did it all begin? Was the end goal kind of always in your mind growing up, or was it a gradual process that eventually led you to here?
Well, interestingly enough, so I wanted to be an actor. Always wanted to be an actor, and I was. I went to University of Houston. I got a baccalaureate degree in drama from the honors program. Nobody's ever asked for it. Nobody cares. But I went pro back in like 1987 and started acting at commercials, radio, TV, movies, whatever it was. I was in Houston, Texas. So I would be in Dallas, Austin, New Orleans, that whole area. And there was some filming going on. So I was doing movies. And then I was doing a small independent movie called Imposters that I don't think ever went anywhere. And one of the other actors on that was Amanda Wynn Lee. So we met doing a live action movie and we hit it off, and she's like, hey, you do all these funny voices and you're crazy. Like, come do this, some anime. Let's see what you got, over at AD Vision, which was happening at the time in Houston. And I'm like, anime? What's that? She goes, Japanese animation. I'm like cartoons? And she's like, not really. And I'm like, okay, does it pay? And she's like, yeah. I said, I'm there. Let's go. Because I'm a professional actor, people. And so we went and I auditioned and I got a role in Super Atragon. That was my first role in anime ever, because ADR, which is automated dialogue replacement, or as you know, dubbing, is a skill. And you have to learn it and work at it. It is not easy in any way, shape, or form. Fortunately for me, it came pretty natural to me. Because I'd also done audio prompting, which is being able to talk with the script being read in your ear. So as you're hearing it, you're saying it. So so I did the ADR, and it was like, yeah, great, let's do that. And then I kept going. Then I did, I think, Takataru in Suikoden, I think it was. And then I think Ava was pretty shortly after that. And that's how I got in. It was because of Amanda Wynn Lee. And she's like my sister.
And she's such a lovely human being, both as a person and as an actress as well. But ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who don't know, and for those of you definitely who know me in real life, you obviously know that Neon Genesis Evangelion is one of my favorite things in the entire world. Probably shouldn't have thrown that, but whatever.
Too late.
No, too late. So at first, you didn't exactly, I mean, you had some experience with anime leading up to Eva, but kind of, what did Eva mean to you? I mean, obviously, it is one of the most recognized and arguably most popular mech animes ever created, has a lot of just, deep kind of, just like existential themes and the human condition. Like, did any of that kind of contribute to your desire to audition for it, or was it just another job that kind of led to something far greater than what you thought it would be?
Honestly, when 192, when we started the process, it was a 2-year process, by the way. Because let me tell you, youngins, back then we used to dub it and then mail it to Japan, and they would mail it back. Okay. So that was a long time ago, people. Yeah, that's how we used to do it. So it was an acting job. And I look at everything that I do that is a performance as an acting job. Who am I supposed to be in this moment? If I'm speaking in front of a crowd, who am I supposed to be at this moment? If I'm doing an ADR session for anime, who am I? What's the character, et cetera, et cetera. And that's the way I approached it. Now, I knew from the beginning, Matt Greenfield, the director, he said, this is special. And it wasn't popular at all at that time. Nobody knew what it was. It just came out. But he said, there's something about this one. It's special. And I said, okay. So we worked really hard and we're really diligent about being as true as we could to the story and make it viable for America. because certain things do not crisscross. You know what I mean? So we did our best. And it was, back then, it wasn't, you can't, do a 30-second scream and, oh, well, we'll just stretch it and change it and move it and all that stuff. You didn't hit a 30-second scream. You had to do it again and again and again until you hit it just right. So, yeah, those kind of things are why it's so interesting, because there's so much heart in the original, because that's what we did. We put everything on the line. Shinji's screaming and burning and everything. And what do you think I'm doing in the booth? I'm screaming and burning and all that. I'm just not really literally on fire. And once we were done with the process, it was like, whew, now what? And then come the movies, and then the rebuilds. It's like, oh, that.
Well, with the new rebuild coming out, I believe either later this year or really next year, was there any different, the rebuilds kind of take the story into a little bit of a different direction. I, for one, am a big fan of the rebuilds. But it does take it into kind of a different direction. Or were you a fan of where it took it, or do you prefer the kind of concise, albeit pretty out there version of the original?
It's interesting, because when I tell people this, some people are taken aback, and some people are like, oh yeah, I get it. I don't watch it because I'm in it. I tell people, look, I've seen more anime than most of you, but I see it from the standpoint of whatever my character is saying to the next scene that whatever my character is saying.
Sure.
And I don't watch my own stuff because I'm the worst critic of myself. So I'm just like, I don't want to watch it. I don't want to hear that. I'm like, because my job as a voice actor is to make the director happy. If the director is happy, then we're done. I've done my job. And if I listen to it, I'm like going, oh man, that sucks. I could have done that. Oh, ooh, I don't like that at all. So I'm not going to put myself. So you're going to see a different in the and the three movies. That was pretty much mostly the original team. And even up to Amanda Winley was directing some and writing some on all the projects as well. So we kept it all pretty solid. Then came the rebuilds, and then Amanda couldn't do it for some reason. And then there's another mech pilot coming in. So there was some new blood and a new direction. And the director, Mike McFarlane, who is one of the funniest human beings on the planet. I love that man. He is hysterical. My joke is, you work with him and milk's going to come shooting out your nose, and you haven't been drinking milk. That's the weird part. So it's so damn funny. And so it did go a little different way, which is good, because our joke is, Shinji got a little bit older, a little bit more to him. So we say one ball dropped is kind of the inside joke. And and the fourth is coming, and I'm going to answer the question that everybody has. I have no idea if I'm going to be in it.
Read my mind.
The last person to know, guys. Yeah, if Mike calls me up and says, dude, you ready for 4? I'm like, dude, yeah. I'm jumping in that pilot, bitches. So.
We certainly hope that you reprise your role, but I wanted to talk about next, Shinji Evangelion, two very polarizing and very, admittedly dark, interpretations of the anime. I want to talk about someone who is just, in a show that is also pretty dark and brooding, just kind of the light that we all hold dear to our hearts. I want to talk about Hanataro. So Bleach.
I'm a healer.
See, exactly. Bleach is a very, admittedly kind of a violent and dark anime, but then, you have this, one of the main and most beloved characters, Hanataro, be a healer, someone who's always trying to stay positive, somebody who's just trying to, keep the spirits up even though everybody else is trying to kill each other. Is there any direct influence you take from your own life being a person who's just very positive and very much tries to uplift people both in the nerd community and just around them with your podcast, we'll discuss in a minute. But do you take any of your own kind of personal, feelings and influences and kind of put it into Hanataro, or is it just kind of coincidence?
At the time it was probably just coincidence, because back then I was still I was still making my way. I mean, I've always been positive. I've always been trying to help people and always been trying to, motivate and always see the positive side. But I've also got my dark times as well. I've gone through a lot of bad stuff. A lot of people had. So back then, I think, I was still I had my hair down to here and I was kind of the bad boy, partying it up and going all over the world, acting like a knucklehead, having a blast. But now I've got a 3-year-old and it's even more of a blast. It's so awesome. But I brought a lot of that to the character. I bring part of myself to every character. That's just how it is. That's why it meshes so well. I mean, the odd part is my 2 biggest roles are either effeminate little girly boy who saves the world in a biomechanical freaking robot, or a psychopath.
There's no middle ground.
So, yeah, there's no middle ground. Oh, you're kind of a nice guy. No, that's not Spike. He's either a psycho or a babbling knucklehead over here. So it's interesting that that's kind of how it rolls, because I have fun with both of them. But the psychos are much more fun, by the way.
Sure, which actually kind of leads me to my next question. I mean, yeah, you voiced, as well as a lot of the guests that we've had on this show, I mean, your guys' IMDb pages are miles long. If I touched every single character, we'd be here all day. But do you have any of them that really have spoken?
Oh, that's only about half, if that much. There's so much that's not even on there.
That's a fair point. But, throughout the years, are there any characters that, have kind of stuck with you kind of throughout the years? I mean, obviously there's ones, that definitely put you on the map and in the forefront of a lot of people's minds, but were those the ones that really stuck with you, or were there some of the lesser known hits that kind of really, really stuck with you?
Yeah. I mean, one of my favorites was still Golden Boy. I mean, not Golden. Well, Golden Boy is my favorite anime, but Little Boy from Spriggan, way back in the day, and of course Akito from Nadesco, which was kind of the anti-Shinji at the time. So we had a lot of fun with that. Yeah. Papillon from Buso Renken, loved his character. Psycho crazy. Very fond of Snake right now on Black Butler, because I do the voice of every Snake. As well as him. Some people don't know that. I'm like, yeah, I'm every Snake, guys. Those are all my voices. But overall, my absolute favorite of all time for me is not in an anime. It's from League of Legends, where I play Colonel Kled, the Yordle. If anybody plays League of Legends, you know who that. I'm also Wukong, the Monkey King, but Kled was a much bigger role, and Kled was fun because he's a psychopath who may or may not eat you. And he would go from, I'm going to rip out your spine and use it for a back scratcher. Because he just loses mind, and just so much fun to play and so hard on my voice.
Well, you kind of, you mentioned it yourself, both now and then a little earlier with kind of the 30-second screams that you had to do for Evangelion. I mean, that's got to be just taxing on the throat. So, are there any precautions either beforehand, during, or afterwards that, you take, and any that you would suggest the folks watching at home that are interested in getting into voice acting? Because, the entire process, and especially in anime with it, there being a lot of screams, especially in specific genres, are there any tips for that you'd like to share for the folks at home?
Well, being an old school VO actor, I like to gargle with a little bit of Grandpa's cough medicine, a little scotch, maybe a little lemon, and some honey in there. No, I'm kidding. I don't do that. It's really about warming up your vocal cords. So something that I've done, and this goes to the positive aspect, the positive personal growth, and warming up the voice for the day. I start my day with something warm, coffee, tea, or something like that. But I start reading early in the day. I'll read for 10, 15, 20 minutes or whatever, a book. But I do it in a specific way because you retain more when you do it in a certain way. I read out loud, walking in an infinity circle, but that's a whole longer thing. But that starts my voice opening up for the day, because if you just jump into a booth and start screaming, that's probably not good. You would, hop out of bed and run sprints. you might want to warm up a little bit. So I just do that for the day, and it gets my mind going, it gets my throat going, gets everything opened up, and I'm in a positive mind frame with that because I'm reading positive, personal growth stuff when I do that. So that's helpful. You also need to learn how to speak from your diaphragm. You got to be able. It's an acting process. It's like if I'm talking to you right now, I'm kind of in here, and kind of at my nose and my throat are going right now. But if I switch to my chest and my stomach here, and I really put it in, I can talk as loud as I want. I don't need a microphone, but it's not really busting on my throat.
Sure.
And you have to learn about your throat, because the screams that I can do, some other people can't do, because I'm putting it in a different angle on my throat or whatever, and somebody else trying to do the same scream might blow their throat out, so pop a larynx or something. You don't want to do that. So you just got to know what you're working with. And I've had 30 years of working with this instrument, so I'm pretty solid with what I can and can't do. If I can't do something, I'm like, oh, nope, not doing it.
Was there a little bit of trial and error towards the beginning, or did you already kind of have a fair kind of grasp of what your range was and was not?
Some of that stuff was new, man. I mean, it's like, I've acted and I've been in scenes of screaming, et cetera, but it's kind of harder because you have to scream, but you can't move that much because you'll hit the mic or something and, blow the take. So you've got to be kind of subdued and really emotive at the same time. So it's a learned skill, and it takes practice and time. And it's not something that somebody can just do and walk in and go, well, it's just talking, right? No, it's not.
Well, taking a break from anime screaming, I kind of wanted to talk about real life screaming. Bear with me, everyone. And also, before we get onto this topic, I did want to reiterate something. If you guys are watching on Facebook Live, on Visioncon's profile, or watching down below for YouTube once this is posted, we've got a ton of links associated with Spike Spencer. Both if you're watching live, it's going to be in the live chat, or if you're watching there on YouTube, it's going to be in the description below. One of those links will take you to Spike's very own podcast. Now, Spike, the Mind Scrambler podcast, I listened to some when you sent me the link, and I gotta say, I'm a huge fan. We're doing a lot of real life screaming, not just anime screaming, especially now due to the craziness of, COVID and just kind of, the uncertainty of kind of our day-to-day lives because of it. And just, mental health, especially in the nerd community, is a topic that isn't often discussed and even kind of brushed under the rug often. But you are breaking that stigma. And so I just kind of want to talk to you a little bit about the podcast, kind of where the inspiration came from, kind of, how do you plan each episode? Do you kind of tailor it to kind of a slice of life event that's happened to you? Or do you kind of have an idea before going in?
Well, so many questions there. Let me start at the beginning. So yes, the Mind Scrambler podcast came about because I've been doing, and a lot of people that are watching have probably seen me at a convention, and I did different panels. So I did one panel was how to be a freaking genius voice actor, step one. And what happens at the con stays at the con. Stories from the seamy, saucy underbelly of anime conventions and more, volume 1 as well. And then I did one called Food Game, A Man's Ultimate Recipe for Dating Success. Those are books that I have written. And I'm sorry, those are the books that I have written. And the panels of the same name I would perform at conventions, except for Food Game. That one was called Don't Kill Your Date and Other Cooking Tips. So some people have come to those panels and that one was all about dating and relationships. It was really rough at the beginning because I had just come out of a divorce and bankruptcy and losing everything and was learning to grow myself back again. As that evolved, it got bigger and bigger. And then I'm in front of, 1,000 people talking about dating and relationships and telling them, some of the things that I've learned. And then I became a certified neuro-linguistic programming practitioner, bank code certified. My wife is certified high performance coach with Brendan Bouchard, who is Oprah's coach. We work with Tony Robbins. I mean, a lot of different people. So, and I've been into the personal growth area all my life. So going to conventions internationally and speaking and having people come up to me at the end and going, wow, I don't know this. I've never experienced these ways of thinking. And I'm like, I've been around it for 30 years because I've been listening to the tapes and stuff since the early days, right? Tapes. That's how us old people used to listen. And so I started, teaching and coaching, and I came up with something called the Reluctant Hero's Journey. And I have a membership group that I'm going to be actually opening up for enrollment again, like next month. But that talk, I started thinking, well, not just dating and relationships. Let's talk about your entire life. And so I can put some of the actual coaching that I have. And I've got 20 years in real estate and business. So I put that in there too. And I said, there are people in the anime world, not just kids. I got fans who are 50, 60 years old, right? Everybody's in a different frame. And so I did, for example, I'm in Australia, like we mentioned at the beginning. Some people may not know. The reason I'm here is because I was appearing at Supernova in Melbourne and the Gold Coast with members of the cast of The Walking Dead, a vampire and a witch, by the way, which is very fitting.
Slide that in.
We can talk more about that if you like to. Yeah, it was funny. We pulled into the Gold Coast. We pulled into the Gold Coast the day Tom Hanks said he had COVID, and he was literally 2 blocks from us. So craziness. And I've been here ever since. Yeah, so I'm here for 3 months right now. And I may be here for 3 more. I don't know. The Qantas isn't flying. But anyway, I did the Reluctant Heroes. Yeah, I did the Reluctant Heroes Journey talk here and had huge success. People were just like, this is amazing. I want more. And so I had my Mind Scrambler podcast started back in Burbank months ago, but it was kind of stalled because of the travel and I couldn't quite figure out the tech. I'm not the smartest tech guy. And then when I got here, I found out, yeah, it's live. It's on iTunes. It's out. So since I've been here, I've been doing the Mind Scrambler podcasts about 2 a week, roughly. They come out like every Monday. And the way I do it is I just I call it downloads. Something hits me. Like today, I'm going to do a podcast. I have no idea what I'm doing on right now. Because I released a podcast yesterday called, Damn It, Don't Give Me Facts. My Mind's Made Up. So that came out today. It's about being open-minded, sure. Especially now. See, I've got other ones that I did like 3 months ago, but I haven't released those yet because with the way things are going, I figure this one's more timely. Let me get it out there right now. And the other ones I'll release and people can listen to them, however they want. But the bottom line is I started thinking, I'm going to start this podcast, which is all about mindset. It's all about taking all the things in your life and turning it around to making it a success for you, which a lot of people in our nerd world don't get that. Like I say, I want to talk to animation, anime, sci-fi, fantasy, video gamers, board gamers, cosplayers, nerds of all kinds that love the stuff that we love. I'm a sci-fi nerd. That's my geek out, guys. Totally. So I come at it by saying, hey, not only am I going to talk to you about very real things, give you tools, techniques, and ways of thinking, but sometimes I might even do it in a weird voice or two and make a point. That's all I'm saying. So that's the kind of fun that we have because it's like, well, why can't we have fun doing it? Look at my titles. They're funny. They're goofy. And I love having fun with it. And it's like, it's not about, you got to be motivated, man. Be hungry. It's not like that. It's like, hey, you know what? You feel this way for a reason, whatever it is. Okay, let's honor that. Now let's see how we can turn that around and make you stronger, make you more confident, make you more happy, those kind of things. And I've had people tell me literally, and a lot of this is because of Evangelion, paired with my talks, I've had people come up to me and say, you saved my life, or you've saved our relationship, you saved our marriage. I'm like, wow, that's cool. Can I get that in writing? I'm gonna use that for a freaking quote, man. Testimonial, baby. And I have a lot of testimonials, but it's something that I started thinking. And here's what's coming, by the way. So the podcast has started. I've got that kind of down. The tech isn't so great because I've had some tech issues being down here in Australia. So the sound isn't, perfect sound quality, but it's awesome. I'm about to start doing interviews with people that are in our nerd world, some of them for sure, who are also into personal growth and development. That's my caveat. I can get to every voice actor that and have them on my show. That's not a problem. But I want the ones that are actively into the personal growth and self-help. That's what this is about. So I'm inviting everybody, come just listen to the podcasts. You'll get something, you'll find something you like out of one of them for sure. There's a lot of good info there. But it's also a really great way to start developing a community. There are other people like you who need support and will support you. So I was a cheerleader in high school, so I'm a cheerleader for you guys. There you go.
That is honestly so sweet. And I thoroughly recommend the Minesweeper podcast because honestly, I think the thing that definitely differentiates you from a lot of the other, kind of self-help, coaches and whatnot is that a lot of them come across, at least to me, a lot of them come across as, I don't know if I want to use lecturing as the descriptor, but I'm going to. So I'm going to say lecturing or tell me, this is what you need to be doing. This, and if you're not doing it, you're not going to get better. Whereas you, it's a lot more open. It's a lot more accepting. And the biggest differentiation is it's a conversation. You're not ordering us what to do in an episode. You're giving us suggestions while also tying in your kind of slice of life, everyday life, and using real world examples that honestly, at least to me, and I am willing to bet it will make all the difference to the people who aren't already big fans of the podcast. Those of them now watching that found out about it that are going to watch it now, I think I have a sneaking suspicion they're going to agree with me on that. But I will say, is there anything that happened to you personally, or this might have been just kind of how you've been your entire life that made you want to specifically target the nerd community, or was it just kind of the one that you had easy access to?
No, it was a little bit of both. Because, for example, what happened in my life to even get me into this realm happened in 2005. So, I did the ADV stuff back in the 90s and lots of anime. And then nothing really happened. I was doing real estate. I was like flipping houses and things like that and doing a little bit of anime on the side or whatever was happening. Or, like in 2005, I was in like 5 movies. Some of you guys ever saw the Disney film called Now You See It with Frank Langella. I was his right-hand man. That was me. I was Paul. So I got to work with him for like 5 weeks in New Orleans. But right after that, my marriage fell apart. And there was cheating, and my story is all out in my books and everything. So it's not like a big surprise. It was no big deal. And it happened. It was a divorce, bankruptcy, lost everything, moved to LA knowing 4 people, one of which was Amanda Winley, and started over. And I was a wreck. I had nothing. I had no idea what I was doing. That started me on the path of real, true transformation, becoming the best man, husband, possibly boyfriend, father, lover, whatever it was, becoming the best version of myself. It was a rocky road. Some people would be like, oh man, that's Spike. He's a jerk. I'm like, I probably was. And I still can be if you're on my bad side. But I'm honest about that. It's not like I just love that. No, I get paid. I can if you need to, but then I'll go, hey. But I started going through this transformation, and the nerd world, anime world, comics, etc., were there to watch it, and I had been supported by this group. And that's why I'm just like, wow, A, I have access to them. B, I can help them. And C, they helped me. So I found in 2005, 2006, when Amanda said, I said, look, I want to travel the world, eat good food. That's all I really want to do. She goes, well, you go to conventions. You're kind of famous. I'm like, what? I was like, excuse me? I had no idea. And so I started going to, it became a thing. One year I did 25 seasons in countries. It was amazing. Now I do like 1 or 2 a year, or as this one, ongoing for a month or 3 months, actually. It was March, April, May, 4 months. We're going on 4 months now down here. And so the reason why I've been tailoring it to this group, and this is why I want to bring people from our world in on the interviews, because yes, I'll get more people. I want more people. I want more views. I want more people to come to my Twitch channel because that's where I do the podcast, which I'm doing today, 1 hour after we're done with this. But
live chat
I
in the
want,
description.
yeah, boom, 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 and go follow me now. So it's live, and I go and I talk about real things, and I'm going to be bringing in real people that you guys like. Some of these people are huge in the business. From all walks, producers, voice actors, on-screen actors, etc. They're going to come in and we're going to talk about, hey, let's talk about mindset. Let's talk about self-love. Let's talk about confidence and getting out of our own bubble and helping others, etc., etc. Because that's what life is about, guys. And I hate to tell you, sitting at home, watching only anime and video games and being an introvert, that's nice if you're an introvert. I understand that, but there's a whole lot more. There's a whole lot more out there. And I can be as introverted as anybody. You put me in front of video games, this is why I don't play them. I will not leave. And I know this. And I have work to do. So anyway, that's what the podcast is about. And it really comes off the heels of the Reluctant Hero's journey. And Mind Scrambler, the reason why I'd say Mind Scrambler is because most of the stuff that's going on in people's heads every day is the same. You have 99% of the same thoughts you had yesterday and the day before and the day before. You got to scramble all that up. You got to scramble the stories up. You got to scramble up all that junk from your past to move forward because you only have now. The future isn't here. The past is gone. You got now. So now, listen to my podcast. Let's talk. Let's start to open up that dialogue. And you got a community of people that are going to support you. I don't allow any fights. I don't allow politics. I don't allow none of that junk. It is supportive 100%. And ask your, some people get a little weird. I'll call them out, but it's fun. It's all in fun because we're all there to be, we're all on the same path. And right now it's kind of a rough path for a lot of people because there's a lot of craziness right now. And a lot of that is just fear. A lot of that's mindset. A lot of it's false information that's being, fed. So you've got to get clear and move forward. And that's what I help do. And I really want to get that out there to this community. So thank you for giving me that time.
Absolutely. I think, honestly, providing a safe haven for people, especially during the rough times, makes all the difference. And like I said, when I kind of set up, the segment, is that, in the nerd community especially, a lot of different, communities, mental health isn't necessarily talked about, and in some cases, swept under the rug. But in the nerd community, for some reason, we're a very, at least in my eyes, we're very open-minded people, but, it just isn't really spoken about. I don't know if it's an unwritten rule or what, but I think the fact that you're trying to break that barrier and kind of just bringing people together, especially during these really rough times, you are, not only through Ava and all your other works, you are saving people's lives. So, you, ladies and gentlemen, we're joined by, everyday hero.
Oh, ouch. That's too much, buddy. That's too much. I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. Thank you very much. I simply do what I know I can do. I'm very good at what I do. I'm a very good coach. And when we talk about personal growth and self-help, people get a certain thing in their mind. And it's like when you're saying mental health, that's huge. Mental health is the key. Mental health, there's a muscle there. You have to work. Like when I say it's a safe community, absolutely. If you want to come to this community, my community, and just basically, wallow in pity with other people, I don't allow that either. You come to my community, you may have a problem, and we're here to help. But you've got to take the help. A lot of people will get into communities or places where they're talking back and forth, and it's just everybody's just griping and moaning. Nobody's fixing anything. With my stuff, I'm talking about fixing things. I'm talking about switching your mindset. This is a problem. Is it, or is it an opportunity? Is it an opportunity for you to grow? Like people say, I'm failure. I was like, failure is only failure if you fail to learn something. It's not failure. That's a lesson. What have you learned? And then when people say that, you go, oh, wow, I did learn a lot from that. Okay, great. So are you going to do the same thing again? No. Ta-da.
Oh my God. Well, it's like, I am interested in knowing your perspective on this. I'm going to rewind a little bit back into voice acting, but we're not done with mental health, because I'm kind of molding the two together with this next question. So in an industry such as yours, I mean, honestly, you know, a lot of industries have to deal with rejection, but I would argue that voice acting, you know, there is probably a little more rejection than one would find in kind of everyday life. So with that, do you have any tips for either the folks watching at home that want to get into voice acting, kind of how to deal with rejection? Does it get any easier? And are there ever any, not necessarily quick fix tips, but anything to make it harder to bear when it inevitably does happen, both as a voice actor or really even in life?
Well, you know, this is amazing. Remember when I told you I get these downloads?
Yeah.
I just got my download for my podcast, which I'm going to do in an hour.
For sure.
So, and it just hit me because I used to tell people, say, I'm an actor. I get told no for a living. And It's like, well, yeah. It's like you audition for 100 things and you get told no on 100 things. And it just hit me. That is something I told myself for 30 years, maybe 25, 30 years, whatever. And because I haven't been on camera in 15 years. So let's say for 15 years, I told myself that. Well, what was I actually telling myself, my subconscious mind? That I'm going to get told no, right?
Sure.
So I just now got that download that is, no, I get told yes for a living because I live off the jobs I get.
Oh, okay.
See the mindset shift?
Yeah.
See the mindset shift?
A lot more fun.
So I go in, so if you shift that mindset, you go in and you say, I get told yes for a living, baby. Your energy totally changes right there. Instead of going, gosh, I don't know if I'm going to get this role, you go, this is mine to lose, man. Let's go. Different energy on both ways. So that's the mindset to shift to. Like one of my coaches, she says, you know, what was it? It's for the Banco personality test. It's whenever you go, you're going to get a no, right? It's like everybody says, in order to get more yeses, you have to get more. And everybody says, oh, no's. In order to get more yeses, you got to get more no's. Well, she turned around. This is why she's one of my mentors. She said, no, if I'm going to get more yeses, I need to get more yeses. Screw the no's. So when you come at it from that standpoint, it changes your physiology. It changes how you feel inside, which changes the energy that radiates outwardly. This is all not woo-woo anymore, guys. This is science. Some of you geeks are going, quantum physics. You know, it's like, yes, it's quantum. It's all kind. It's the whole vibration, frequency, all of that. We're learning how we're so connected. It's insane. It's amazing. And I nerd out on that stuff too. So that's kind of the idea. If you are in this world, maybe it may take 100 auditions before you get one. But if you're already going in saying, I'm going to get told no, then that you're already putting that out there. Say, I'm getting told yes. I'm getting told yes. I'm getting told yes. And if they say no, most of the time they're not saying no. They're just saying yes to someone else. They're not telling you no. It's like, wow, you were really great, but we want to go with that guy. But we'll keep you in mind for the next one. So it's a way to shift. And I think this is why I coach. This is the kind of mind shift that I'm talking about, guys. If you're a voice actor listening to this right now, you're in for a long haul, great. But don't make it a harder climb than it already is. The stairs are right there. Go there.
I started this out by saying you are obviously one of the most popular and recognizable voice actors of our time, but I'd like to add to that list. I mean, you're a mind blower as well, mind scrambler even, because just a tone change, from a no to a yes, and all of a sudden you completely switched the entire just kind of how we understand rejection. And I'm quite honestly, and I'm not blowing smoke up your you-know-what, like I'm, for one, amazed.
Well, thank you. See, this is the power of coaching. This is what it's about. And like I said, my wife is way better than me. She's phenomenal. But when I tell her this, she's gonna be like, oh my God, you're so right. we have so much fun. We're working on a podcast as well together. So we'll be having that coming out on relationships for power couples. Because she is a powerful woman, and I'm a pretty powerful guy myself.
She was also super sweet. I mean, granted, I'm jumping a little bit off topic here, but before I hit live on here, you actually went to grab something, and she and your son actually came on and started talking to me. And I got to be honest, I mean, she was very sweet, and I really appreciated it, but I was also really surprised in a good way because it takes a lot. I mean, I know what I know. I'm just like some guy in Missouri, longer hair than probably you see on most men, you know, interviewing her husband. So I don't ever expect to be spoken to by, you know, anyone associated with the guests that I have on the show. And the fact that she actually made a point to come on and actually just talk with me and introduce herself, like, I don't know. I thought it was very sweet. So, you know, she, from what I can tell, you know, she's an amazing woman.
She is. She is absolutely amazing. And our son is amazing. And he's going to turn 3 next month in Australia. And if things go the way I think they're going to go, he may be turning 4 in Australia because we'll be coming back once they open everything up again. I think it'll probably be next year. And they've already said, yeah, you'll come back. So we'll do Sydney and Perth next time. So, I mean, I think it's scheduled right now for August, but who knows? Sure. Who knows what's going to happen? So probably will be next year.
Got to take it that, you know, each day at a time. But ladies and gentlemen, I got one more question before we go into the plug zone and then viewers' comments and questions. So a lot of you have already messaged Visioncon. And you can ask your questions and have me tell Spike things through that. But you can also just comment in the live chat, and I can also read those as well. But with that said, I got one more question for you, Spike. Like I said, a lot of folks watching at home are very interested in voice acting, especially now that we have all this free time with quarantine. So I wanted to ask, were there anything that you can, advice-wise, not necessarily with Rejection, since we already kind of covered that, but any advice for people to get, how they can get into voice acting, any tips that they can use along the way, and or if they finally made it, how can they expand their horizons to be even more successful, maybe even one day Spike Spencer successful?
Well, I mean, that depends. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. It depends on where they're starting. Sure. If you're starting and it's like, hey, I want to be a voice actor and I've never done nothing. Well, then I'm going to tell you right now, what's the second word in voice acting? Acting. Every voice actor will tell you that. They say, you need to take acting lessons. Like I said, I have a baccalaureate degree from the honors program at the University of Houston. Now, like I said, nobody cares, but I have 4 years of solid, hardcore training at the core of acting. And I also have, 30 years of acting experience. So, but with voice, it is voice acting. So you also have to understand the voice side. You got to understand how to work with a microphone and with a director. So here's a quick tip. If you're already in voice acting, you're already working, you probably already know this, but some people don't. Your job is not to be a voice actor. Your job is to make the director happy. And in order to do that, you have to be able to adjust your voice like an instrument in teeny tiny increments. Where he says, oh, this character is 20 years old. You go, okay, he's 20 years old. Cool. He's like, well, let's make him 17. Okay, so he's 17. It's a little different now. Let's make him 12. Okay, he's 12. What are we going to do? It's like, you have to be able to tweak that, not only in age range, but you've also got to be able to tweak it in emphasis and emotion and tone and all of that. So he's like, oh, I need this. And you need to be able to do that, whatever that is. That's the key to working. It's not just being able to do funny voices. I've been in a job where a guy could do some amazing funny voices. I was like, that is some of the best voices I've heard in my life. And then we started the gig and he got fired in 10 minutes because he sucked at the actual job. Sure. And they were pissed. They said, you're never working in this industry. You're out. You just wasted our time and our money. He's like, because he didn't know what he could do. Sure. He's like, oh, I talk funny, so I can do this. Nope. Yeah. So you got to be careful with that. Now, so the acting, know the tech, and network. And did I mention network? You got to get out there. You got to meet people. You've got to get to know people. I taught a course on LinkedIn for voice actors while I was in Houston at a convention, and they were blown away. I'm on LinkedIn every day. That's the business side of it. Sure. If you don't understand or know what LinkedIn, you better start checking it out because Facebook ain't much. And Instagram, there are ways of doing things in Facebook and Instagram, but for the most part, Facebook is not what you think it is. So if you're interested in actual business side, LinkedIn's the place to be. That is something definitely to check out. And then don't stop. Just keep going. For example, and I'll be honest with you right now, I'm down here in Australia. I've got a gig tomorrow, but I don't have the setup that everybody has because I'm in limbo, right? I've done one gig in 3 months. And that's no lie. Because I'm here, I have a microphone, but it's not my great microphone at home. I've got 2 mics back home that are really good. I have a travel mic, and I've done video games and all kinds of things on this mic. But the game's kind of changed, guys, because of COVID. Everybody has really upped their game on their home studios. So my home studio back home is great. I got a really good microphone and really quiet, and I've got Audacity. That's what I use. Audacity's free, by the way, guys, and I love it. But now, when you're at home, they also want you to have Source Connect or something along that line, or ISDN. And that means you are committed and paying money. So that's what you're fighting against now. And so I don't have that down here. And I'm not going to get it down here because I could have to leave next week, So I have what I have, and I'm dealing with that. But it's a new world, guys. It's everybody's got a better setup now. So, but then again, I've also seen some of the best voice actors on the planet with basically the same microphone I have here with the same setup, which is blankets and pillows. So, I mean, guys, let me tell you something real simple. When I travel, when all of the voice actors travel, we have the bed studio. We don't travel with a studio, but there's a bed in every hotel room. You whip back the covers, you put some pillows there, you put your computer there, you put your microphone there, you maybe have some extra pillows on the side, and then you throw the blanket over your head and you record.
Just that.
That's it. That's it. I've done video games like that.
Oh my.
So, that's just something to let you know. There's nothing stopping you from getting your voice out there. You just have to do it. And you want it to be the best quality you can get. And I'm not going to lie. My podcasts aren't the best quality. Some of the voices are great because I did them in my studio back home, but now I'm on the road and I have this mic. It's what I have. The information is gold. That's the one thing. So if someone's like, I don't know if I like the sound. Well, then you're welcome to leave and wait until my sound gets better, because it will. But it doesn't matter, because if I do a live like this interview that we're doing right now, it's not studio quality. It's on Zoom. And that's what everybody's doing. As a matter of fact, the gig I'm doing tomorrow, we're going to be utilizing Zoom, ISDN, I think Source Connect, and there's like 5 different people in 5 different places. It's a cluster stoop, but we get it done. And I get to be playing with Wendy Lee tomorrow, who I adore. So it's going to be fun.
Oh, my gosh. Well, I mean, honestly, don't undersell yourself or your podcast, though. I mean, this show is pretty as laid back as shows can get, and still, for some reason, people keep watching day by day, which, probably is a testament to the guests we have on than yours truly, but, neither here nor there. I'll also never look at a hotel bed the same way again. But ladies and gentlemen, before we go to the plug zone, now is your last chance to ask any questions you have, either in the live chat, or a lot of you have already messaged Visioncon. You can also do that as well, but I try to balance out the questions from the messenger and on the live chat. So now is your last chance to do that if you haven't already, because ladies and gentlemen, we're in the plug zone. So Spike Spencer, now is your chance to promote, advertise, plug, whatever verb you want to use, anything you'd like. The floor is yours.
Okay. Well, strap in, kids. Here it comes. The main thing that I'm working right now is my podcast, which is utilizing Twitch. So what I ask for everybody is to go to Twitch and follow me at Spike Spencer Speaks. I'm sure there's a link somewhere around here. Yeah, it's over there. It's over there.
All these links are going to be in the live chat on the YouTube description.
It's over there. So there's that. Now, what I do is I film my podcast there. I'm on every day at noon right now, Monday through Friday in Australia. So depending on where you are, just look up Brisbane, Australia. And I go every day. And usually it's the Mind Scrambler show, which is just this. It's just us talking and getting to know each other. And then on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, I do the actual podcast, which is about 30 minutes. I do 15 minutes chatting with you. Then I do the podcast, and then I wrap up with another chat at the end. That, then I export over to YouTube. So, next plug. Go to my YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube, Spike Spencer. You'll see me. It'll say Relationship Sales Dynamics. Don't get scared. It's what I do. And you can go there, follow me, subscribe, because all of my stuff I take and I move right over to there. I'm going to be doing more YouTube stuff in the future, but I've just got my focus on Twitch and my podcast right now. There's so much to learn. It's amazing. So there you go. There's those two there. Those are important. So the Mind Scrambler podcast, the Mind Scrambler podcast, please go to iTunes and check it out. Listen, give me a review, please. I want to get it going. All of this is just starting up, guys. I don't have like thousands of followers and all that. This is beginning. It's in the beginning stages. So your help is absolutely desired, wanted, and appreciated. Those are the main things. And you can also go to spikespencer.com and see all the podcasts there. I've got a blog. I don't know if you knew this, Zach. So yesterday was Father's Day. 3 years ago, I was on a Netflix docuseries from Chicken Soup for the Soul called Being Dad. Okay. And I just finished a 6-part, So you get to see Declan being born. And they interviewed us, and yeah, it's on Netflix right now. You can go and watch it. It's called Being Dad. It's 8 episodes. I think we're in 3 or 4 of them, kind of interspersed throughout. And it's a great show. It really is fun. And you get to see behind the scenes of our life. And I just finished a 6-part blog on behind the scenes of that docuseries leading up to Father's Day yesterday. So if you go to spikespencer.com blog or spikespencer.com podcast, there you go. That's pretty much most of my stuff, unless you go to, obviously you can go to Amazon and order my books. I have 2 of them up. What Happens at the Con Stays at the Con, and Food Game, A Man's Ultimate Recipe for Dating Success are available there. And the only other thing I can plug is the Reluctant Hero's Journey is a private membership group. It does cost each month, and it is a coaching membership group for our world. It's active coaching and training, etc. It's a monthly thing. And I'm going to open up enrollment again next month, I believe in July, because you can't get in there now. And it'll be it's like $11. It's like less than, a couple of cups of coffee, and you get to actually work. I'll coach 1 time a month for an hour there, and I do a weekly challenge. Not much more. It's really community. For that price, believe me, it's amazing, because we have some really great members and they're loving it. So that's everything I got. Hi from Australia.
And if they wanted to join that group, where can they find it?
Well, the problem with that is I haven't opened the enrollment, and I don't have a link right now where they could get on the waiting list. So what I can do, Zach, can I send you that link?
Absolutely.
Okay, I have to do a little tweaking, so it might be a little bit later, but I'll send you that link.
Those of you watching now on Facebook Live, just rewatch it, since most of you probably will already. Watch it on YouTube, and it'll be in the video description on YouTube by the time this uploads. Yeah, I'll go ahead and get that set up because I got to tweak a couple of things. And then once it's done, I can get the link out there and just say, hey, sign up, because I'll let you know when we open, next month, because it'll probably be the end of July probably. But it's something, what a great community. You got a community of cheerleaders there who are ready to help you. Which is very helpful, especially during these rough times. 2 things before we exit the plug zone. First thing, Alexa, remind me to watch Being Dad. Remind me in an hour. Thank you, Alexa. Number 2, all of these things that we spoke about during the plug zone, all those links, again, guys, are in the live chat if you're watching live on Facebook, or if you're watching on YouTube, once this uploads, it's going to be right there in the description below. And ladies and gentlemen, we are out of the plug zone, and we're on to viewers' comments and questions. So real quick, let me
also follow me on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram.
Oh yeah, all those links are in the chat and in the description. We got all social media: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, websites, all those other.
I'm getting up on TikTok.
TikTok, we'll get that as well, guys.
I'm gonna get there.
But now pulling up Messenger and looking at the live chat. First question we've got comes from Aaron. He asked, and this one's kind of an interesting one: if Naruto crossovered with Disney's Descendants, who would Inojin want to be friends with and why? So Descendants, if you don't know, follows the sons and daughters of various Disney pairings.
It doesn't matter. I can stop you there. I got no idea.
No idea.
Sorry, man.
How about I tailor this question?
You do it. I'm too far in the weeds on that one, man.
For sure. What Disney character do you think Inojin would get along with the most? How about that?
Oh, man. That's hard because we've been watching Disney films.
Sure.
Jim would probably get along with Aladdin.
Aladdin? I could see that. Aladdin, they're both pretty artistic,
right.
Pretty fun-loving. But looking at Messenger, Nick messaged Visioncon and wanted to know that you kind of also mentioned it, which is why it kind of drew me towards this question. Does your son or even your wife kind of enjoy the content that you make or even watch it? Or are there some things that are kind of too dark, as he put it?
Well, no, for example, he's 3, almost 3. So we went 2 years, no screens whatsoever, none at all. That's a neuro thing. And so now we've kind of eased him in. So he's just now starting to watch movies like Cars and 101 Dalmatians, things like that. So he's not watching any of my crap for a long time. Let's just put it that way.
No Ava anytime soon?
No, that's not happening. Yeah. But, and my wife is not into animation, anything. She's like more of a book nerd, but she does like Marvel. And she loves Iron Man. So we're watching the Marvel series while we're down here from beginning to end chronologically, and we're on Civil War right now. So that's fun, and she enjoys that. And she did love Battlestar Galactica. So that was awesome. But as far as my stuff goes, we're into the podcasting. She has her own podcast, which I should probably link up because she's spoken at conventions as well. It's crownyourself.com. She's got her podcast there. And
yeah,
sorry.
I got you.
I lost you there for a second. My phone is going low, so I'm going to have to plug it in a second.
Sure.
Let me see what time it is.
Yeah, we've got about time for one more question after this.
Okay, that's fine. I just got to plug it in because I have to use this phone for my casting. But anyway, so she, we both do the podcast, and we are both coaches. So the personal health and personal growth and self-help stuff, we're back and forth all day long on that. We both have programs and all this we're working on. So we're a team. And Declan can be a voice actor if he wants when he grows up. He's going to have a pretty good coach, and he's got a hell of a voice. So
he'll have the chops for it, and yeah, the perfect coach. And the link.
We already got him an agent if he wants it.
There you go. And the link to your wife's podcast we'll put in the YouTube description as well, guys. Last question, and then we'll wrap this up. Angela wrote in and asked, you mentioned that you are a sci-fi fan. Are there any big names that you want to put out there? Any series that really kind of drew you?
Well, Battlestar Galactica, number 1, is one of the best. And you want to talk about a geek out? Check this out. We were in Houston at a big Comic-Con. And I was a guest there. And so we went to have some barbecue with some friends because I'm from Houston. And so we got a little barbecue. You got to have barbecue. So while we're sitting there, the entire cast of Battlestar Galactica comes and sits at the table next to us.
What? That's insane.
Like, Edward James almost. And I just, yeah. I mean, I'm like, hi, oh, big fan, oh. And she had just started watching it. She was like, oh, wow, this is cool. I'm like, yeah, it is. So And we got to hang out with a couple of them at the con. But so it's a huge one. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I love Star Trek. Literally. I dated a Jedi. Seriously, true story. It's in the book. And yeah, we just finished the Mandalorian, so we're up to date on that. I just finished Discovery and waiting for Picard. Yeah, I mean, I'm up to date on almost every sci-fi because when I moved out to LA, I tried to watch every sci-fi ever made.
All ordered.
So I'm still working episodes of Andromeda.
Sure.
So if anybody is. And Earth's Final Conflict, I couldn't get the end of those. So yeah, I'm a huge sci-fi nerd. Love it.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sad to say that's all the time we've got for today. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been episode 10 of Visioncon Live. Before we wrap things up, any final words, Spike?
Well, just I hope you come and become a part of my Mind Scrambler podcast community, the Reluctant Hero's journey, because I want you there. I want to support you, help you with some of the things that I know I can do. That's my genius zone. And I want to support you as a cheerleader for your greatness.
Spoken like a true hero, Spike. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been episode 10 of Visioncon Live. Thank you so much for tuning in. Real quick, don't forget on Thursday, join us right here for episode 11 of Visioncon Live at 1:30 p.m. Central Time for the one and only David Lodge, voice actor, voice of Jiraiya from Naruto, Kenpachi from Bleach, Geralt for Fire Emblem Three Houses, just to name a few. But until next time, my name's Zach Wilson, and much more importantly, this is my special guest, Spike Spencer. We'll check you guys later.